As enunciated at paragraph 257 of the government program 2015-2019, the government stands committed to hold nationwide referendums on matters of utmost importance and relating to the public interest, as well as on critical amendments pertaining to our sovereignty or constitution. Madam Speaker, this is not the first time that the issue of referendum is raised in this august House. While the letter of a referendum is still to be established, its spirit, which involves countrywide consultation as and when absolutely necessary on subjects and themes of national interest, is widely being followed by this government, and there are numerous examples to illustrate this, as I shall indicate. Indeed, notwithstanding our commitment in favor of referendums on matters of national interest, this government has consistently been adopting a decentralized and participative approach to policy making, involving extensive consultations with all relevant stakeholders. A case in point is the government proposals on electoral reform, which was released well in advance for wide consultations with stakeholders and the public at large. Another recent example is government consultation document on the financing of political parties, which has been released on Friday last for broad consultations. The public has been invited to submit their comments and suggestions by 14th of January 2019. Already, we have witnessed during the weekend a very fruitful and meaningful debate in the media on the issue of political financing. Moreover, as the House is already aware, every year government undertakes extensive consultations with all stakeholders in the context of the preparation of the national budget. Wide consultations are also held on other bills concerning major national issues. Madam Speaker, I would like to emphasize that non-state actors, including NGOs and trade unions, are co-opted in different forums for their contributions in the social dialogue, which has always characterized our approach to public governance. It is also significant to note that, in line with our commitment to adopt a consultative approach in decision-making, government has, in April this year, revived the National Economic and Social Council, which comprises the government, the private sector, civil society, academia, and the public sector. The Council, under my chair, meets on a quarterly basis. Madam Speaker, government will consider the advisability of introducing referendums on issues of major national importance, where appropriate, taking into consideration the cost element and logistics required for such an exercise.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank the Honourable Prime Minister for his answer referring to the government programme as far back as 2015. He will agree with me that when you look at the political manifesto of l'EPEP, and one of the 12 commandments was precisely, if I'm allowed to read that part, I quote, « Il y aura des référendums obligatoires pour des questions cruciales concernant l'État ». So my question to the Honourable Prime Minister, in line with the commitment in the political manifesto to have mandatory referendum on matters of such national importance, would he therefore not consider that, for instance, the proposal by government to come up with financing of political parties from taxpayers' funds, funds belonging to the taxpayer, does he not consider this of such crucial importance, therefore, and advisable to come with a referendum specifically on this issue of political financing and other issues, for example, of such crucial national importance, such as the constitutional amendment that he is proposing?
Well, as I said, in fact, the government program of 2015-2019, paragraph 257 reads as follows: nationwide referendums will be held on matters of utmost importance and relating to public interest, as well as on critical amendments pertaining to our sovereignty or constitution. Madam Speaker, again, let me repeat what I have just stated. With regard to the electoral reform, a proposal was made giving enough time for all the parties in the National Assembly and other parties also, not represented in the National Assembly, and the public at large, to communicate any views, suggestions, any proposals with regard to specific provisions that we have made public. Again, with regard to financing of political parties, it's good that I do also emphasize that we have released the broad principles with regard to this issue. We expect to have any proposals or counter-proposals. And let me say that what we have suggested is, what we have proposed at least, is part financing by government and of course financing also by the private sector. Now, the issue of part financing by the government, it is open. We have not stated in what percentage, what amount. It is open, and I wish that members, political parties, both represented in this House and outside, will make concrete proposals with regard to that. So there are consultations, as I say. I don't think it would be practical to go for a referendum where we will require a specific vote on this issue or the electoral reform or on other. Otherwise, why is it that we don't hold a referendum on the national budget? This is a matter which impacts on the lives of everybody, in fact. So I think we have put it in, yes, we have put it in our program, but it's a matter of thinking and being practical, and therefore I believe that we have to be. And then let me say also to the honourable member, if I take one aspect of the electoral reform, for example, abolition of the best loser system. Now, if we have to put that to referendum, I mean, surely you can imagine what will happen.
I once again thank the Honourable Prime Minister for his lengthy reply. The Honourable Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, has spoken lengthily about the concept of consultation. He has himself made a difference in the political manifesto between consultation and referendum. He will note, my question is as follows. Since the political manifesto and the government program never spoke about the abolition of best loser or, most importantly, the proposal of government to the House to come and allow political parties to be financed from funds belonging to government, since this was never in the proposal in the manifesto, and neither was it found in the government program, is it not therefore important, since none of us have any mandate on this particular issue, and that there be a referendum precisely because he makes the difference between the two?
Madam Speaker, I do not agree with the honourable member, because in our manifesto we clearly mention that we will come up with electoral reform. We said that we will introduce a dose of proportional representation. We will see to it that there is a provision that will encourage women participation at the highest level in our political life. And with regard to financing of political parties, we did say that we will come up with such a bill. But the honourable member should understand that we, in a manifesto, we don't come up with the details of electoral reform or financing of political parties. It is for then government to work out a detailed proposal, and this is what we have done. We are living up to our commitment, to what we have promised to the people, and we are delivering today. Now, it will be, obviously, for every member of the House to take their own responsibility also. And also I say towards history, because I believe that we have been discussing on these issues for so many years under previous governments. In fact, the honourable member will remember also that in 2012, I believe the governmental program also mentioned, when you, under the Labour government, also mentioned that government will come up with the system of referendum in order to consult people on very important issues. But that never happened also. But I'm not saying that, you know, but worse still, a honourable member will recall that, you know, you came up with a proposal for amending our constitution with regard to powers of to be given to President and to Prime Minister. And there was no consultation. It was done in catimini. There was no consultation at all. But, okay, I'm not saying that because I want to get political mileage out of it. We are serious. I want to say that, look, we are holding wide consultations, and it is open for everybody to make proposals. And of course, with regard to financing of political parties, we are open. We have not said that this is what we are going to propose, and this is what we are going to stick to. We are open. Please make proposals, and then we will look into them.
Honourable Jugnauth.
Madam Speaker, my question to the Honourable Prime Minister is as follows. Although he has made a difference between holding or organizing wide consultations with different stakeholders on different issues, but doesn't he consider that amending the Constitution for holding referendums are a completely different matter, and this is why this was introduced in government program of l'Alliance Les Peuples. And as Honourable Minister Mentor said, we did not dispute the merit of referendum as a complement to the system of representative democracy, and that referendum should be used very selectively only on highly controversial issues of national importance, okay, and not on every issue.
Okay, yes, Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Madam Speaker, if I can recall, I think in our Constitution it already makes provision for holding of referendum if we have to amend, I believe, Section 1 of the Constitution and Section 47 also. I think it is with regard to holding of elections. This is what we amended at that time. So, as I say, it requires further thinking, and you know, we have to look at the practical aspect of it also. But I think what we are doing is as near as we can come to a proper referendum as such, by holding, again I repeat, by holding wide consultations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On the issue of financing of political parties, electoral reform, and Declaration of Assets Act, have we not already been mandated by the people of Mauritius in December 2014 to bring these changes instead of holding referendum?
Well, the Honourable Member is right, because it was in our program. The only difference is that the Honourable Mohamed is saying that, well, we should have stated that maybe the details of it, whether we are coming with a new system to replace the best loser, and so on and so forth. It is not appropriate, it is not proper, it is not, has not been done also by any political parties. A manifest will say broadly on which issue, what we intend to do, and the details, of course, has to be worked out when we are in government.